Hey there, soulmates. Welcome to your Friday, January 20th edition of Fox Soul's Black Report. I'm Courtney Hicks.
And I'm Nicordelai Corte. Happy Friday, soulmates. We're honored to stand behind this desk each day to take you on a journey across Black America and the stories that impact our people.
Yeah, you best believe we're going to bring you our news, our views, and our voice. Our top story takes us to New Jersey, where police continue to search for two missing women whose families say they were last seen nearly 2 weeks ago. The couple, 25-year-old Amani Glover and 29-year-old Destiny Owens, were reported missing out of Morristown and East Orange. Although the women are dating, their disappearances were a week apart. Owens was last seen in Newark on Christmas Eve, while Glover was reported missing on January 8th. Family and friends are organizing a search through several areas this weekend in hopes of providing police with assistance in finding their loved ones.
Now over to Memphis, where a civil rights investigation is now underway in the death of Tyree Nichols. The investigation is being led by the Department of Justice and the FBI. Last week, Tyree Nichols was stopped by Memphis police, who used excessive force during his arrest that lawyers believe led to his death. The officers connected to Nichols' death were immediately placed on leave, although the department has not disclosed the number of officers involved. The investigation will focus on whether the officers broke any law, while also looking into what department policies were violated.
A Portland, Oregon man is facing both federal and state charges stemming from his attacks on several ethnic centers. Police say 34-year-old Michael Edgar Bivens set fire to a Muslim center, vandalized 2 synagogues, and a Black-owned business. He also faces 1 count of arson in the first degree, 5 counts of criminal mischief in the first degree, and 5 counts of bias crime in the second degree. He is also accused of spraying threatening anti-Jewish language on the exterior of a synagogue and using a rock to break the window of another building on the synagogue's campus.
New details today surrounding the viral video of an Ohio officer punching a Black woman in the head in the parking lot of a McDonald's. The police chief says the officers responded to a call of a customer who was angry about a food order. Reports say the woman cooperated at first, but refused to give the officers identification so they could give her a citation. The woman went to the hospital, where she was treated for her injuries to her head. The officers who punched the woman has been placed on administrative leave pending the investigation.
And just an amazing story here as the Colombian Navy rescued a man from Dominica who says he survived days at sea with items you may have right there in your seasoning cabinet. 47-year-old Elvis Francois says he survived 24 days adrift in the Caribbean on a sailboat by eating ketchup, garlic powder, and seasoning cubes. Francois told police he was stranded back in December when currents swept his sailboat out to sea while he was making repairs. Francois said he had to constantly remove water from the boat to prevent it from sinking. He also tried to light a fire to send a distress signal without success. Rescue crews say Francois wrote the word help on the boat's hull, which was key to locating him. Just an amazing story. Ketchup, garlic powder, and seasoning packets. That kept him alive. Wow.
I'm going to race to the grocery store right away, just in case
something goes down.
Something goes down. You know, you just got to have those main 3 in your cupboard.
That's right.
I mean, it sort of reminds me of almost the deleted scene from the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, where you know he had to survive, you know, with minimal you know, things for survival. You know, this is just a real life example of how that ketchup, you know, ketchup just might save your life. It's not just good for a good old hot dog or something.
You know, we're chuckling about it.
But it might save your life, soulmates. Invest in ketchup.
We're chuckling about it, but that's really serious if you think about the dangers of the Caribbean Sea. It's a beautiful sea. It's peaceful. In most parts, it's like see-through. You can see straight down. You've got aqua, you've got blues. But when you get way out there with all of God's creatures, and the elements, that could be very dangerous. So that's just maybe a testament to his skill as probably a fisherman and his will to survive and to just, think on his feet with the seasonings. That sounds like he was a fisherman. Seasonings, garlic powder, ketchup.
Yeah.
That is an amazing story, and that might need to become a movie.
Well, we're really glad that he survived, and at a minimum, he should be getting the ketchup deal. Heinz or somebody needs to be giving him a call, because if this ain't an endorsement for ketchup, I don't know what is.
We shall see. All right, moving on here to Baltimore, where prosecutor Marilyn Mosby's perjury case was denied as far as a motion to change the venue. Mosby's defense team asked the judge to relocate the trial from Baltimore to a place where the jury pool was less connected to her as a prosecutor. Mosby's defense team asked the judge to relocate the pre-jury trial from Baltimore to a place where, again, the jury pool was less connected to her. The judge denied the request and even threatened to hold Mosby's lawyer in contempt after publicly suggesting the prosecution was racially motivated. Prosecutors say Mosby lied about having a tough financial time during the pandemic in order to take money out of her retirement account to buy vacation properties in Florida. The trial is still set for March in Baltimore.
Democratic Representative James Clyburn says he has no doubt that Biden will run for re-election in 2024. Clyburn said Wednesday that he's warning fellow Democrats against challenging him. The Democratic rep was a key Biden ally in the 2020 election and praised him for passing more progressive laws. But Clyburn says he's mainly warning against challengers to prevent a similar outcome of former President Jimmy Carter in 1980. He's referring to Senator Ted Kennedy's challenge of Carter. Carter did beat Kennedy for the Democratic nomination, but ultimately lost to former President Ronald Reagan in the general election, a defeat that many blamed on Kennedy's challenge.
In honor of the 50th anniversary of the Roe v. Wade ruling, Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to give a speech in Florida. Officials have not confirmed the location of that speech, but that it is a continuation of Harris's focus on reproductive rights in recent months, which has included meetings with activists, healthcare providers, and state lawmakers from around the country. It's also intended to be a signal that the administration isn't giving up on abortion now that the midterm election is over.
And Courtney, speaking of Vice President Harris, she made a visit to Tonopah this week to showcase the Biden administration's clean energy investment. Take a look. Vice President Kamala Harris visited Arizona Thursday for the groundbreaking of the power line known as the 10 West Link, which will stretch 125 miles connecting electrical substations in Tonopah, west of Phoenix, to Blythe, California.
This electricity will be clean electricity. Solar panels and wind turbines do not produce toxic fumes that poison our air. And the energy delivered by these lines will not just be cleaner, it will also be cheaper. And all of this also creates jobs.
The VP was joined by Governor Katie Hobbs and 2 cabinet secretaries. This comes as President Joe Biden wants to move the nation towards more renewable energy, which requires thousands of miles of new transmission lines to get power from vacant land where solar, wind, or geothermal energy can be harnessed, making Arizona a perfect spot. The president's goal is to slash greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030.
When we invest in climate, we build a safer, cleaner, healthier, more just, and more prosperous country.
Although today's visit was all about renewable energy, Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels wants the VP to turn her energy towards our southern border.
It's frustrating because it's insulting to all of us that wear a badge, our community folks that live in America, and our Border Patrol agents that we work side by side with. So we won't give up hope.
The 10 West line will be able to send 3,200 megawatts of solar energy and will be able to be linked to any future clean energy initiative in the area.
A private St. Paul, Minnesota university is being sued by one of its professors over her termination for showing a particular image in art class. Erica Lopez Prater is suing Hamline University, claiming she was wrongfully terminated from the school that takes pride in its diversity and inclusion. Now, Prater alleges the school made the move to fire her after a student complained about her showing an image of the Prophet Muhammad as part of a global art course. Many Muslims say that the image shown of the Prophet violates the Islamic faith. Prater argues, saying the image was not Islamophobic, but expressive.
Now heading over to Chi-Town, where a candidate for alderman is accused of stealing her opponent's signs. She denied it until Fox's Mike Flannery showed her the video. Take a look.
Cleopatra Draper was at her campaign office on 103rd Street on January 9th. Our surveillance camera caught her departing, then another recorded Draper walk over to pull up a sign for 9th Ward City Council member Anthony Beale, the man she's trying to unseat. She then put it in her vehicle.
Well, have you ever removed the signs?
So listen. When we spoke to Draper, she initially would not answer when asked if she'd been removing her rival's signs in the far South Side ward. Then we showed her the video.
So how many signs have you removed of his?
You see that one sign on that corner on 103rd? That's garbage.
By coincidence, Sheila Robinson, an ally of Tony Beale, happened to be driving by as Draper grabbed Beale's campaign sign.
I thought that was just kind of low. It was not a good look at all for a candidate to be caught pulling up someone else's signs.
A few days after that incident, another surveillance camera recorded someone removing several of Beale's signs from the block where he lives. Draper said she was not involved in that incident.
And signs started coming up missing. I got a call from somebody on 73rd Street and called and said, hey, I'm looking at a dumpster full of your signs. And, we went over there and saw it was over 100 signs put in a dumpster.
Larger yard signs like this one are being used by Tony Beale and other candidates as early voting is about to begin and campaign emotions start to run high. They're a bit harder to remove. On 111th Street in Pullman, I'm political editor Mike Flannery.
Our thanks to Mike Flannery for that report. Again, candidates in the area are now using larger yard signs. That's a little harder to remove as early voting is set to begin in Chicago. Let me just say this. We're spending more time talking about how she has allegedly, but according to the tape, has removed yard signs, as opposed to what she intends to do for the people of Chicago, right? And I think this is the kind of thing that makes voters so cynical about politicians, and folks that are running for elected office. It seems all about them and not enough about the residents. And so I think this case is a case in point.
Hilarious. You're right. You can't even focus in on what the issues may be. I spent a lot of time in Chicago. It was the second birthplace of my career, if you will. Those streets run all the way from maybe 21st all the way to well out to the 180s when you get into the suburbs. So if she was on 73rd pulling up signs, 103rd, she was just all over the place. And it's unfortunate because maybe she might be a viable candidate with real solution-based ideas for those particular communities, but now it's been overshadowed by her skulking across the yard pulling up this man's signs. If in fact that was her, allegedly.
And it probably makes it hard for her supporters to continue to support her. But we'll continue to keep you dialed in. Still ahead, a shocking new discovery from scientists regarding one particular STD.
Plus, apply pressure to Houston mayors as he works to leave a legacy in his last term. You're watching FOXSOUL's Black Report.